everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us on our weekly Friday webinar. Today, we are here to discuss Biden's immigration reform updates 1 year after inauguration. I am joined by our awesome managing attorney, Ruby Powers. Just a quick background on our attorney Powers. She has been licensed since 2008 and is a board-certified immigration law and nationality attorney.
All right. So I saw on my Facebook memories a year ago being excited about the change. If politics aside, immigration was a big conversation, a big part of Biden's his plans. And of course, 2021, starting his presidency, we were deep in the middle of COVID and the beginning of vaccine rollouts, as well as dealing with economy and helping support small businesses on top of everything else that's important. So we're just going to do a talk about, because it's an immigration law firm, what's going on this last year in immigration. So here's just some of the topics. So on his first day, he sent an ambitious immigration reform bill to Congress to create an 8-year path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, bolster the border security, and deliver aid to Central America. There was a lot of other action, including getting rid of the migrant protection protocol or the Muslim ban. There was a lot of stuff that all was happening within the first day or within the first couple of weeks. But then I do remember that we were very optimistic about a lot of changes. But as I was watching it so closely, we saw that it took even weeks to appoint many of his cabinet. It was even into like February and March, and we were still going through the screening process and appointing of really key secretaries. And reality is it took time for those roles to be filled, to then trickle down with the changing of the policies, the culture, the outlook on how things were going to run. And even to this day, some key appointments have not been filled, and it's been a year later. So that really did hinder a lot of movement. The House did pass the Build Back Better Act, 220, 213, so sort of narrow, I guess you could say. But it didn't make it through with the Senate. And it was trying to do many of the things of his ambitious. I would applaud them. I don't know if by saying the word ambitious, we're trying to say that's too ambitious, but or in a negative way. But these are things we need. We haven't had reform in so long. We haven't actually had Congress pass anything fully to get signed into law in so many 25 years or something. Like it's as me as an attorney, I haven't seen it happen as a licensed attorney. So, these are the areas that we're needing help, and we've been monitoring all year, and we were looking forward to change. In fact, lots of people were putting their processes on hold, hoping that we'd get reform. And I think like somewhere around the middle of the year, we just sort of started saying, hey, you got to do what you got to do with what we have and not put off for potential reform. And if it happens, it happens. And hey, we're going to just pivot. But like, that's not really the best way to. So, what happened with the Build Back Better days before Christmas, the Senator Manchin withdrew support of the spending plan, and the parliamentarian rejected the Democrats' attempt to include immigration in the bill, and but it didn't make it. So, then, what are some of the other things that have happened? So, he lifted the international travel ban for vaccinated tourists. Yeah, that was huge. November 8th, we started seeing lots more people coming in who had been waiting. So the whole year, I feel like I've been, before I just had to focus on immigration law, but a lot of the last 2 years, I've had to, what is the CDC saying? What is this country saying? What is that country saying? What is your immigration status? It was like being a travel agent times 10 for helping our clients figure out if they can go from point A to B. But when this travel ban was lifted, many visitors who are fully vaccinated by the approved vaccinations were able to come in, and we have seen more people coming in for consults, and so a lot more movement. So a lot changed. Unfortunately, Omicron started showing up. What maybe soon after from South Africa, we heard. But still, we have seen a lot more movement. Then the Remain in Mexico program. Well, it's long story short, it's back in place in a modified version. It's supposed to be better because they get vaccines and some other benefits, but really it's back. And in some cases, individuals are not subject to it, so they actually are allowed in. But even figuring out who gets in, who doesn't, has been quite confusing, and sort of in an evolution in the last few months. So that was really to the detriment to a lot of advocates, including myself, that they keep the Remain in Mexico program, or as Trump used to call it, the migrant protection protocol. Biden announced his commitment to defend DACA, and they proposed some regulations to restore it. There was some more litigation about DACA, but there is talk to make sure that it gets more into regulations so that it cannot be taken away at the whim of executive action at any point, even though it was created by executive action. So DACA has just continued to be in the news, and unfortunately doesn't seem like we ever feel like it's secure. And really we want to do is take it to the next level and make it a true pathway to a legal permanent residency and citizenship. But it seems like since its creation a decade ago, it seems like it's constantly, or mostly since 2017, wait, I'm losing track of my time, since Trump's era, has been sort of questionable what its security and not being taken away is. The Biden administration reopened the CAM, the Central American Minor Program, in March, and expanded later in May. Actually, private attorneys, no one who applies through it can actually be charged. I do have clients that are applying for it, and I've connected with resettlement, like nonprofit agencies, to apply for my clients' children in foreign countries. But that is a really great program. And, it is limited to, I don't have it all memorized, but basically it's like people who've had asylum pending since a certain date, or certain other petitions. And so if you have children abroad under 21, unmarried, then you can, and it's only for Central American minors, then you can apply to bring them in, and you have to fill out the application and some other DNA, I believe some other documentational information. But it's a great program to prevent, smuggling of children into the country to be reunited with their parents. So, the challenges have been reflected in the surveys. A recent Politico poll found 56% of registered voters disapprove of how Biden has handled immigration. However, many are trying to make the best of the situation. He knows things could be worse if Trump were still in office. Yeah, that's true. And remember, again, 50% of legal immigration was reduced under the Trump administration, 50%. So, the way I look at it, it's sort of like the tap for water, it was sort of turned down to a trickle under Trump, and then now it's like slowly being turned back on. Much of the attention has been on immigration status. Advocates say there's other avenues to gain relief for immigrants, including policies that help them meet basic needs, expanded healthcare and unemployment insurance. Another thing we didn't even mention is just that the reversal of the affidavit of support public charge. For so long under that, there was the fear under the Trump administration that if anybody were to use Medicaid for their American children, or if they were to take any types of resources, that they would be banned later on for their legal permanent residency. And that was reversed earlier in 2021, where they went back to the old standards for the public charge. And so, in a way, it's sort of hard to realize we might say we didn't get reform we didn't get all this amazing stuff that we had envisioned for 1 year later. But I mean, at this point, having practiced 13 years and doing immigration for even longer than that, I'm just going to be happy. I'm just going to count my blessings and say we've gotten some good stuff. So like if we look at court, yes, there's a recent CNN article that says we have 1.6 million court cases in backlog, but they're trying to use WebEx, only since like maybe July 2021, in some other cities, but they were down in Houston, for example. We have 3 immigration courts. We started a couple of years ago with only 1 in downtown, and now we have 3 separate immigration courts. So there are more judges on the bench taking more cases. They're also they're opening up to take more cases online to increase efficiency. They're also open to prosecutorial discretion requests by with the trial attorneys to try to dismiss or admin close cases that could stay off the docket. So, I mean, it's slow improvements, but I can see that there's a plan. I can see that there's movement. Hiring more judges is not the only answer. You also need to give them more autonomy. And one other big, huge thing was being able to let judges allowed to admin close cases on their own. That was huge as well. Consulates have reopened. Cases are moving forward. It really depends on the post, if they're open and how many cases they're taking. They recently said that they're doing more visa waivers for interviews for certain visa types. That came out, I think, December 23rd, for some people who, in certain cases, who've already had interviews and approvals before. And so that's going to really make it more efficient with this consulate. But, we're seeing some delays that sort of disproportionate to around the country, depending of the world, or depending on the impact of COVID on that post. And so we have to be really resourceful when we're figuring out the processing times and how to get work on it with our clients' cases. And USCIS is trying to focus more on online filings. We've heard reports that they want to do all their cases online within the next 5 years. They want to increase processing, not increase, they want to reduce processing times, improve processing times. And, the craziest thing, sometimes I see stuff like getting naturalization interviews in 6 months. And an I-601 waiver was approved in less than a month recently. And so it's sort of like some of the things we filed more recently are getting approved more recently than the stuff that was filed a year and a half or 2 years ago. So I think also the sentiment and culture of USCIS is more like open to immigrant. I mean, if they change the photos, they change their mission plan, they change their culture in USCIS. And I mean, even under Trump, it was buy American, hire American. But now this administration is saying, no, we want our foreign workers, we want foreign investment, we open doors. We have the entrepreneur parole program that opened up again, also this under Biden. So, we here at Powers Law Group do investment and employment-based cases, and we are seeing an uptick where people, because of the labor shortage, are looking for foreign help. And, this is definitely a better administration for that. I would just say overall, things are turning in the right direction. It's not as fast as many of us advocates would like, but I would say if you haven't proceeded with your case, or you have doubts, or you have whatever, you've been on your holding pattern, I would say this is the time. This is the administration. If you have a difficult case, if you are sort of debating, do it now. Don't wait for perfection. Go have a consult, see if you're eligible for something. I will tell you, for example, I have a lot of clients I've known for a long time, and we were trying to do motions to reopen because they had in absentia orders. And you know what? We're getting them open now. We're getting them open right now, and we're able to move them forward. So my mantra right now is, if there's something that was a little sticky or difficult, we weren't sure, this is the administration to try to move your case forward. And, and let's see what we can do. So overall, positive, not as fast and not as big leaps as much as I'd want to see, but we'll continue to monitor. And thanks so much for watching. And it's a full service immigration law firm, so we help people on all different things within immigration. Daya, how do they stay in touch and how do they find us more?
Yeah, of course. So to stay up to date with us, go ahead and give us a follow on all of our social media. We are on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. We're also on TikTok. We do have a newsletter that goes out bi-weekly. You can give us a follow on our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then go ahead and join us next week. We will be discussing what is Section 245I and how it can help your case. Some good information coming out next Friday's webinar.
So thanks so much for watching. Definitely check out that TikTok. We're building up our followers and we got some funny stuff there. Thanks to Daya.
We do have good stuff coming out. So go ahead and give us a follow on our TikTok. All that information is on our social media.
Howard's immigration lawyer. All right.